What's up? What's up? What's up, good people? Welcome to our first episode of Move. It's our new podcast and our new brand, Move Incredible. I'm your host, DJ Just Music. I got my co-host here, Simone G, and we're gonna rap with y'all a little bit. Talk about some topics today. Since we're dealing with this pandemic and everything that's going on in the world, we want to talk about motives today because we feel that some people have good motives, some people have bad motives, and you just don't know. But we're human, so we're always gonna question these people and try to figure out what's their intent, what are they trying to accomplish. Yeah. Got to move incredible. Yeah. Got to move incredible. Do we need to be in a situation where more of us is actually supporting us? Because you could talk about music, for instance. A lot of people will talk about R&B music is dead or soul music is dead because it's not on the airwaves, because we're not demanding it. We create this music, but we don't purchase it. We'll tell you that we love this song, but we don't purchase it. Adele come out with an album and all the Caucasian people run to the store or run and download it. Jill Scott, Erykah Badu put something out, we're not purchasing it. We have huge purchasing power, but we don't. So is it a support thing?
Okay, so I think it's a miseducational thing, because what you're saying is right. We will support any and everybody else in whatever endeavor that they're participating in. But to a dying breed, which is music, which is our legacy, we won't support. I can't tell you the last time I downloaded an album. Frankly, I don't even know how to do it. If you didn't have Spotify, I wouldn't know what to do. So I take myself out the occasion. I'm just like, it's like an overload of music almost. It's like everybody need mama doing music. It's annoying.
But the other side of the curve is
everybody can't do that.
And then what we tend to forget is us. I think a lot of it is parents' fault why soul and R&B music is not here anymore, because you have a lot of young parents who have young kids, and these parents don't really know music, and they're not able to teach their music. Like when I was growing up, my father played certain songs to me. So, I grew up in a Jamaican household, so, Barris Hammond was loud in my house, Sanchez, all these singers that actually did something for the culture. You know what I'm saying? So now when you have a 40-year-old mom, she out in the club trying to listen to Booty Shaker. So she's not listening to certain songs that's actually going to play these music in the house and teach her kids, or this father teach his kids about real music.
Right.
So that's where the disconnect, part of the disconnect is music. It's not being passed from generations anymore. And that was the greatest thing with soul music. It was passed from generations, and we lost that shift. After the 90s, I think we lost that shift.
I think we caught up to each other musically in the 90s for some reason. Like the baby boomers, they kept to their music, 50s, 60s. They probably tapered off in the 70s and went to gospel, if you will. And then you have those who were born in the 70s. Yeah, a lot of them, that's when the locking up started to happen. So, and the drugs started to hit easy. So you got disco, that kind of broke up R&B and soul music in between the 80s and the 90s. So when you get the downfall of disco, and then you get the uprise of hip-hop music and R&B, which is different but in the same category as soul music, because R&B is one thing and soul music is another.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And people get R&B. I don't know why they should mix it, R&B, soul. I mean, there's people in that lane, but R&B is R&B and soul is soul music. And I guess you confuse it. Who am I to judge, right? But after a while, music started to kind of parallel each other, especially you see that with rap music, because now you have rap doesn't necessarily transcend over time because of the beat. So hip hop, people who grew up in hip hop who are now parents, they still listen to hip hop.
Yeah.
They haven't stopped listening to hip hop.
Yeah.
It might be a different type or something like that, but they still listen to hip hop, or the beat draws them in. So you might, I'll listen to the baby.
But I think it's also a creative thing. You know, I talked about not passing it down. Another aspect of music not moving, and we're still on motives, people. We're not shift, but we know we're just gonna jump in this topic a little bit. The other thing we could talk about music is creativity when it comes to the R&B soul part, because you know when you talk about R&B soul music, everybody always go back to the 90s, right? This is how music used to be in the 90s. 90s make the best music. This is the golden era, and that's good and fine and everything, but we can't live in the 90s, you know, so we can't stop. We can't keep trying to create the 90s all over again. Like, we need people to come in and actually create new sounds in R&B, and that's what we're missing. Like, everyone's trying to reinvent the wheel instead of building a new damn wagon.
It's time for a new wagon.
It's time for a new wagon, but no
that.
one's really created. No one's really. There's nothing unique in R&B, right?
Well, you know why? Because remember we used to get on Puff Daddy, right, for always remixing. Like, he remixed the whole Scarface album for Biggie's first album. We were like, is this Scarface? This is Scarface. You know, and so remixing 90s music is the remix on top of the remix, because 90s music is the remix of 70s music. Yeah. That's where all the samples came from. So the music I heard in my house was Shaka Khan, Shalimar, Dr. Buzzard and Savannah Band. I love that music. Just Music be looking at me like, what is this? I'll be like, yo, this is popping right here. But anyway, but that's how music has kind of moved on or moved through the time. But we are at a parallel where music is, I don't want to disrespect anyone and say it sounds the same, but I'm not impressed by a lot. So therefore I don't want to listen. That makes me sad.
And we have to be, you know what, lately, I would say within the last 10 years, I've been a lot more spontaneous with music. You know, I created Singer's Room. I created a brand that lasted, 15 plus years. Yeah. And I loved doing it at the time, and I loved R&B, but I felt stuck. I felt like the genre was stuck. I felt like the content was stuck, and I wasn't happy with it anymore. So I sold the brand, you know, and now I shifted my concentration over to Move Incredible. Move Incredible is a little bit more spontaneous. It's a little bit more diverse. It's not just music. It's, you know, ordinary life of people, my people, people who understand, that live the urban culture and understand. So I can listen to this R&B song from Tank, or listen to Tamia and somebody else kill something. At the same time, I could go listen to some pop music or a certain hip-hop artist.
Yeah.
And that's the space I'm in. Like, I don't really want to be in the box anymore with music, because of all these streaming services and all these networks, you have access to everything. You know what I mean? So I understand, we want to do for the culture and help the genre out, but at the same time, we also have to do for ourselves. And for us to be creative, we have to expand our mind. We can't just sit in one box.
Absolutely. And part of movement and part of expanding is showcasing artists who have mastered their artistry and expanded their artistry. And it goes from, it doesn't even have to be movies or anything like that. There's artists who received master's degrees. That's an expansion. Exactly. There's artists who have created businesses, or artists who have become philanthropists, and they don't want their name to be mentioned in it because they make it appear as if they have a motive for giving money, you know. And that's expansion. You don't have to stay in one place as an artist. And how music has transitioned, and artists are able to have more power as long as you read those contracts and hire a nice, safe lawyer. You can come out on top. But at the same time, Moving Incredible is all about expanding your thought process, expanding your business, and expanding your reach.
And at the same time, it's also advice. It's also feedback, not just from us, not just from people, from celebrities or people with a name, but just from the regular person. Like, if you have something that you think you can bring to the world and it will impact the lives of others, Move Incredible. Bring it. Show the world what you can do. You know, but at the same time, as we go back to motives, another thing that we discussed was, you know, this is trying times. We all know there's a pandemic happening out in this world, and it's tough times. And there's a lot of artists releasing music, but look, we're artists, so we have to release music, and I know. But I think the motives behind a lot of it is more for profiting. And I get it. We need to make money right now because you can't tour, you can't do shows. So the ways to make money is to have people stream your music. But at the same time, can we make music that would impact lives as well as carry out our motives instead of just putting anything out here? Yeah. Because, I've heard a lot of music over the last 2 weeks, and a lot of it is trash. Like, what we doing? Like, when R. Kelly released I Believe I Can Fly, it was a essential time.
It was a monumental song.
Monumental time, essential time. The song made a huge impact. I'm not talking about R. Kelly, the molester. I'm not going to go into that. I'm talking to R. Kelly, the musicians, because at the end of the day, as far as doing music for the culture, from a musical standpoint, I can't take anything away from him. He's a legend when it comes to making music. And him, the personal, I will leave that to the legal system to take care of that part. But as far as music, I'm not going to stop listening to his music because he made great music. It impacted the lives of others. So back to Believe I Can Fly. It really impacted the lives of people that were going through things. You know what I'm saying? So if he had a motive to make money, F it. Make your money because the music is really doing what it's supposed to do.
It moved the people.
So the word to advice a lot of these artists, if you want to make an impact now, if you want people to remember you now, do something that shows that you care. Don't just put out music to put out music. Do some to show that you care.
But really care, though.
Yeah, really care.
Don't half behind care.
Because you know what they say. When you give, you get it back tenfold.
Tenfold by paying it forward. Yes. In my profession of psychology, there's going to be an uprise of people dealing with situations and feelings that they never had to. And the normal way people would deal with certain problems, they would go visit someone. So now you don't have that. So here we are falling back on music. And the one thing, and here we go with motives, right? The motives behind music was to tell a story to make a person feel better about their situation or to make that person feel that they're not alone. That's the kind of music that people need. It can have a beat to it. However, the words need to mean something. And that's where motives come in. So I agree with you. Everybody has to make money. The world still has to turn and go round. But be thoughtful. Please don't tell no trash.
Exactly.
Man, I can't. There's too much trash going on right now.
You know
your
what?
trashy music.
This has, I've heard it from a bunch of people. If you folks are on social media, you'll see the posting. This is the time to be as creative as possible. This is the time to really go into your space and be as creative as possible.
For your sanity.
Impact lives. We all talk about we write our songs and we do this and we do that. If you really write your songs and you write good music, take your time and pen something worthwhile. Like that's the other problem with when it comes to R&B, hip hop is no one is making classic music. Like I can't really think of much songs that I've heard over the last 20 years.
I can think of artists who I like.
There's a couple. Don't get me wrong. There's music that's great, but there's not as much as if you go back to the 90s or 80s or 70s where you can play classic music all day. I can play Anthony Hamilton or Donald Jones or
Jordan Banks.
Gordon Banks.
I'm sorry.
Gordon Banks.
It's spelled with a J, right?
With a G. Gordon Banks. Shout out to Gordon Banks, though. That was a dope album
My
he
bad.
made, man. That album that's a classic album, Gordon Banks.
What's the song you sent me? Not Running Back. That's my jam. We jam to that all the time. But it was another one you sent me about
off
love.
The top, I forgot, but I'm going to look it up because I got to give Gordon his shout out. He definitely made a great album for the people.
That song was...
So, we found the Gordon Banks song. It's called I Just Do. And I'm going to play a little bit for y'all from the phone because I don't want to, no copyright issues. I know how these record labels be trying to get their money, so I only could give y'all 3 seconds.
So we're going to keep it going with motives. And we're just going to take a turn from the music industry and high profile folks like celebrities and stuff. And we're just going to take it down to us regular folk.
You know, because motives is everywhere. You know, everybody got motives, you know, your friends.
Your friends, your coworkers, your pets. Everybody has motives. So when we think about motives, let's talk about like what they mean in friendships. Like, do you look at them? Do you search them out like before you say this person is your friend, or do you kind of like see what the motives are before time? Because I think sometimes people who are vigilant about searching out motives, they have an insecurity of either being hurt before, don't want to be hurt again, or sometimes people just don't know how to make friends. So they naturally have, they look for the motives in other people.
And don't get me wrong, motives is not necessarily a bad thing. So I don't want to add a negative connotation because we all have motive. You know, whether it's good, bad, ugly, indifferent,
Right.
we all have some kind of motive, you know. And then sometimes it's just, I helped you because I want to help you. So my motive is to make sure that you're good.
But see, I think that's the part that people have an issue with is there are people out there that will just do things for the benefit of the greater good. And then you have people who do things to get something in return, you know, and I think that's the hard part when deciphering if motive is important or not.
And then, you know, the people that expect a return, I don't know if you can necessarily call those people friends. Those people you probably need around, you probably need in your life some way, some form, or some shape, but they might not be your friends because at the end of the day, you want real people around you. You know, you don't want someone who's always going to try to get something back when they give you something. That's not a friend.
Right.
So.
Well, something you said, like, people are around you. Everybody have a purpose.
Everybody has a
to
purpose.
Be in your camp or be in your friendship circle. Everybody has a purpose.
In your life. I wouldn't say friendship circle, but everybody have a purpose to be in your life. You know, and they might not be in your general circle of friends. You know, they might be standing 1 foot in the circle, 1 foot out the circle, or they might be standing outside the circle hanging on whatever it is. But everyone has a purpose because at the end of the day, I think that's one of my favorite words.
Yes, it is one of your favorite phrases. End of the day.
But at the end of the day is, as the rich man always said, your network is your net worth, right? So that person might have certain motive, and you don't trust that person, or you might feel insecure around that person. But there's a benefit that person could bring to you, whether he's, you know, putting you in contact with someone new, or, you know, showing you something that you haven't seen before. Whatever it is, there's always benefits to people. That's why, me personally, I always treat people a certain way.
You still gotta watch them, though.
You still gotta watch them, and I'm not an asshole.
What I do. I watch.
I still watch them, but at the end of the day, I don't really say per se cut you off unless you do something dirty. Then I have to leave you the hell alone. But and if you just have motives where you're not looking to hurt me, but you're looking to benefit, then so go on, be you. You might become a benefit to me one day. I probably have motives to make sure this person know how to do this. You know what? He a piece of shit, but he know this shit right here. So I'm gonna keep him. I'm gonna keep him here.
So in that retrospect, that's okay because you know who you're dealing with. It's when you don't know who you're dealing with and you uncover motives. I'm gonna put it out there. I remember watching Bill Clinton on Arsenio Hall when he introduced him. He came on and he played the saxophone. Me and Bill had a connection.
He smoked weed. He did this shit. Yo, everybody love fucking Bill.
I mean, I played the saxophone. Bill Clinton played the saxophone. I looked at my mom and said, yo, this dude is cool. Yeah, and he jammed with Arsenio Hall's band and everything. Come to find out, his administration and his wife, who's included, were behind the mandatory minimums. I had no idea. I felt so bamboozled 20 years later. 20 years later, as a little girl, I was captured. You know what happens when you're a little girl and you're captured that way? How do you vote?
You vote for that person.
You vote for that person that you remember.
Bill officially got a black card. I remember when he got his black
the black card. And talk about it.
You know what I mean? So that's another thing that we really need to think about. It's because us as black people need to do better researching. Don't just go with something because it's cool, because it look good, because it's flashy. Because that's we are as people. We're flashy, we're cool, we got swag, all this other stuff, and then we tend to rock with people who's flashy, cool, swag, all that, without knowing their motives or without knowing what they have going on in the background. And
that's
we have to start getting smarter. Because if we don't get smarter, guess what? We're going to be the ones that continue to get locked up. Or we're going to be the ones
take
that
our rights away.
Continue to get shit on. I just saw something
And
today
take our rights
about
away.
affirmative action suspended. Like, we have to become smarter.
I'll say this,
like,
too.
everything is not a joke, folks.
Even with the pandemic that's going on today right now, I encourage people to still have a routine or ritual that you guys do in the house or around your home, as long as you're safe, to keep your mind sharp, to keep, it's okay. You can keep abreast of the news, but don't be succumbed. Don't be overwhelmed by it, because it's like in and out information. And just to go back to what Just Music said, yes, the motives. Don't get caught up in one thing that you turn off everything else and you don't realize what's going on, i.e. the affirmative action.
And to add to that, don't be Mr. Something to say just because I want to say something.
Yes.
Like, you go to social media and I see a million comments of a whole bunch of people who just want something to say. That's your whole motive is, I want my voice to put out there. I want someone to hear me, so I'm going to write this dumb shit.
As my father said, you just want to be seen.
You just want to be seen or heard. Like, think.
Nothing to say.
Use your mind. Process information first before you actually put your feedback out there in the world.
Well,
because you just sound stupid. We're not moving. We, as black people, we're the race that's shrinking. Everybody growing, we're shrinking. Why do you think?
Why do you think that's
Why
happening?
do you think?
Well, I'll say it's happening because we're so quick to fall for the bait. For a lot of bait. And bait looks so many different ways. Bait is money. Bait is a whole bunch of children. Bait is jail. Bait is drugs. Bait is a lot of things.
And not just the bait. We're so quick to give up all the information. We're so quick to tell everybody everything we got. We're so quick to put it out in the world.
That's what
we don't keep no secrets.
No.
So everybody come in and take our shit and make money from it because we don't know how to keep secrets. We don't know how to protect our culture.
And then you're going to blame somebody for being a culture vulture because you gave her the black card. You know who I'm talking about, Izzy. Who gave her the black card?
The name is Iggy.
Whatever. That's the drink. It's an Australian drink too, I think.
You know what's funny though?
Is
you know what's
it?
funny? I got an email. I'm not gonna say this artist's name. I got an email.
Oh gosh.
A couple of days ago on Friday, because Friday's release day for music, and this white girl. Don't get me wrong. I love all music, but this white girl was doing R&B soul music, and she did a music video. It was a 90s video. She was wearing door knocker earrings, walking down the block in the hood. Like, it was the culture vulture in this video was ridiculous. You have the black chick on the Spanish chick on the stoop, like arguing, like yo, it was some ridiculous shit.
Was she born in Harlem where they have
the song wasn't
or
that good?
like that?
The song wasn't that good, so I wasn't gonna give it love anyway. But if the shit was good, I don't think I could run that shit. At some point, you gotta have some kind of ethical backbone. All right, you gotta have some backbone where you're gonna protect your culture.
In music, is there ethical? Are
there
there ethics?
There are ethics
in music. Are there ethics, and do people heed to
a lot
ethics?
Motherfuckers gonna sell for a check in meantime.
Thank you. She sold her own people out. Her mama like, what are you doing?
you know what they say? There's always somebody that's gonna do it for a check.
Yes, in music, always.
And
sports,
you're gonna have to. It's gonna be. There's a few people out there. There's a small percentage of people who actually have ethics. As I said it before, I like all music. It doesn't matter who you are as a person. If you make good music, you make good music. But at the same time, don't be an actor. Make your music. If it's good, it's gonna work. Stop being an actor. If you're white and you're doing R&B music,
just be you.
Just be you.
We'll love you because of your voice.
You don't need to be Donald Jones. You don't need to be Diddy in the hood. Just be you.
She was
just
doing the Diddy bop
music and be yourself.
She was doing the Diddy bop on the stoop with her plastic on. You gotta show me that later.
I'll show you that.
No,
video,
I don't want to see that.
I'm not. I think I deleted that email by the way, so I don't even remember her name. Sorry, artist. That's your name today, artist.
You are mean today. What are his motives?
Protect the culture.
Yeah, definitely protect the culture.
Protect the culture.
But yeah, that was something that
Because, and not to cut you off, if you go to
you stay cutting me off.
If you go to Move Incredible,
I'm gonna take my power back.
Yeah, and go to the music section, you see a bit of everything. You see pop music, you see soul music, you see hip hop music. It's just artists that move incredible. They make good music and they're themselves. They don't, try
and that's the incredible part.
That's the incredible part.
If you can be
yourself.
If
you smoke weed your whole life and you're Wiz Khalifa, you make weed music. And we just audiences for everything.
I'm okay with some of the music, but some of the music just look like you need to be in a padded room with four white walls. And when you play this stuff, when you have people coming in, when you have people, when you're playing music and stuff, I'll be like, who is that? Turn that off. It feels like I don't feel so good. I just feel sad all of a sudden.
And don't get me wrong, artists, if you're being original, everybody not gonna like your stuff.
It's okay.
So somebody's gonna like that. It might not be me. It might not be Miss Simone here, but somebody else is going to like it. So I'm not trying to misdirect you or tell you to change. Like, if you're happy making your music, keep making your music.
That is true.
Everything is not for everyone, and that's what we tend to forget sometimes. Everybody want love. We want people to love us, but understand if there's 350 million people out there, there's probably only going to be 1 million people who like your stuff.
I will say this, though. To those artists who may not fare well with masses, there's something to say about having courage and not caring what people say. But those who probably shouldn't be singing, they should be cooking, finding another profession, mouth closed. Construction, just work with your hands.
Some of you motherfuckers need to lay concrete.
Some of y'all need to go into masonry. Build walls. Not that kind of wall, but build
go
walls.
Put up a sheetrock. Go paint somebody's house or something. Stop it.
Oh my gosh, yes. But shout out to the people who love what they do, even if nobody else does. You still got the courage to make the music and make yourself happy.
And just being real. Just being real to yourself. Not coming in here. Yes, your motive is to make money. A lot of artists, your motive is to make money. But sometimes that motive of making money takes over your creativity. Ooh. And then that's where you fail because you forget that you have to create real music. Create music that can last. You got one little hit and you made your little penny. But that's it. You're done and gone because you weren't real to yourself.
But people interpret pressure differently. You have a one-hit wonder. You're afraid of not being a one-hit wonder, and you get inside your head, and the music just don't pop for some reason.
And much respect to those artists that come out the gate with hits and then able to maintain it. Yeah. There's an artist like, for instance, Rihanna. A lot of people didn't think Rihanna would have success the way she is now.
Well, she stayed
because she came out with a huge record that was in a way bigger than her.
Which one? Oh, Umbrella?
Pon de Replay.
That was
her first hit record.
Yeah,
that record was huge. But she continued. She aligned herself with the right people.
Right.
Shout out to her record label and signing with Jay-Z and having the right people in her corner. So she continued to make records that fit her.
But she had a lane though. You know what I mean? She had a lane and she rocked the hell out the lane. And then after she rocked the hell out the lane, she added another lane.
She crossed over into new markets.
And she rocking that now.
She did island music, she did R&B music, and then she did pop music.
Fenty lip gloss, I got a couple of those, girl. Them colors be popping.
Get that paper.
Yeah, that was
diversified.
Diversify the portfolio.
We can't forget to diversify.
Yes. She moves incredible. You can respect her hustle.
Shout out to Rihanna, move incredible.
You know what else I like about her?
But then you have not to cut you off.
But you stay cutting me off. Let me say what I gotta say about Rihanna.
Oh, say it, damn it! I'm still waiting.
I forgot.
She forgot. But
no, let me say it.
but then you have an artist like, for instance, let's take it back. Some of y'all probably won't even know. Do you remember Mims?
Mims?
Do you remember Mims? See, you don't even remember his name.
I
but
do remember Mims.
What was his song?
Harlem.
Yeah, but what was his song?
Sure.
Because his song, you'll definitely know his song once I say the song.
Don't say it, because I'm going to be
But you don't remember him.
Mims?
Because that song was popping. Everybody was remixing that song.
I do remember.
This is why I'm hot.
Yeah, this is why I'm hot. This is why I'm hot.
What happened to Mims?
Because I'm not.
What happened to Mims?
I don't know. Mims, where are you?
One hit wonder. Your song was too big for you.
Oh, who else had a song that was too big?
Well, there's a lot of artists out there that had songs too big.
Yeah. Tierra Marie.
Well, she didn't really have a big song.
That song, Make a Girl Feel.
Yeah, it was
that song was bigger than her.
But you know what? The Tierra Marie is, no disrespect to Tierra.
We like her. I watch you love her hip
pay
hop
50
too.
Cent his money, please, so we can stop this nonsense on social media. Because Fifth is gonna stay on your butt, Tierra, until he get his cash. But as if I go back, and Tierra, in the whole Rock Nation process, she never really created an identity as an artist.
She never had a chance to.
She probably never had a chance to. But even now, with having reality TV behind her, we still don't know her identity as a singer. Like, she had multiple shots, more shots than most people have, to create some kind of identity. And you get dropped from a record label. You have time go by. You get picked up on a TV show. You've been on multiple episodes. And, no disrespect, because I know, as you can see from the show, she has some demons and she has some hardships. But at the same time, you still have to take advantage of your platform.
But she kind of did a little bit.
No, not really. Her music career is.
Well, she took advantage. I don't know why. I don't know you, girl, but I like you for some reason.
It's not a personal smash.
No, it's not.
It's just it's what's out there in the world. So I can only speak on information that's out there in the world. I don't know you personally. I can't speak on you personally. I can only talk about what I see out there.
I remember her going to, I think, one of the urban stations in New York, and they asked her, they was testing her to see if she would sing, and she sung Weak on the radio, and it didn't go in her favor. And that, I felt that was like a time for her to redeem herself, and she wasn't able to follow through for multiple reasons. I don't know. That was some years ago, when that took place, and it is what it is.
I just think she never knew what her sound was. She never really tapped into her creative box where you could say, yo, Tierra Marie's making some fire. Yo, this fits her well.
Right.
Like, never. I mean, it could be a team, whatever it is. I mean, we all have our teams. I'm pretty sure she had some people around her. But and then she's not the only artist. There's a lot of artists out there that's in that box.
It's hard.
Where I tell you, you can't come ready to make money and don't have no personality, no musical
personality or knowing your lane. So say, for example,
let's say musical personality. Like you have to have some kind of a music personality.
Like even when I'm singing, right, I'm doing my little local thing. There's songs that you can sing because you have to sing them for whatever reasons, and there's songs that you sing because you love singing it, and when you sing it, it does something to you when you sing it. And I think sometimes artists have to sing or rap according to what they're told to do versus where their passion lies, which would allow, I think, sometimes the music to be a little bit fuller.
I mean, don't get me wrong, like as an artist, you have a job. Just like everybody out here go to work, they have a job. You got to produce these reports. You got your job. Your job is to make music. And at the same time, if you're working in an office and your boss tell you to he comes in a room and asks you to explain this report, you produce this report, so your job is to explain this report.
I agree.
Right? So as an artist, it's the same kind of thing. You make music, so you have to be able to produce something on the spot so people can actually see what your talent is.
Right. I agree. What I'm talking about is when you are given a lane versus being able to create your lane or create your sound, right? Because for the novice artist, you don't know what to expect. You don't know what to do. So somebody's creating that infrastructure for you. And then when you get of age, quote unquote, some maturity in the game, then you can cross over to being more creative. What I'm talking about is when you are creating that lane, I believe an artist have an idea. Maybe it's not formed, but they have an idea of what they're able to do, what they can't stand doing, what they know they got to do. They'll do it anyway. So how do a person gain their sound if they're not given the ability to find it?
It's just those people who come in strong-minded, who know who they are, like the Alicia Keys. Like she know who she was, so
and she don't hit high notes. She stays in her pocket.
She knew who she was. I mean, the other problem is I'm not going to blame artists completely, because it's not just artists. You have these producers who push their sounds on certain artists or push certain songs on artists when they know the shit don't fit them and it's trash. You know what I mean? I remember when I was working with a certain artist, even though she retired from music early. It took me a while to really figure out what her sound was and what she wanted to do with music, because it was, I know I could make beats or I can make certain tracks or I could write music, but at the same time, that music have to work for that artist. Like, it has to be a marriage. I mean, the producer and the artist is like a relationship. Like, if that shit don't work, you're going to divorce or you're going to break up. You know what I mean?
What did you guys have?
So
I think or a breakup. Or party amicably.
I don't think we had any of those. I think the artist at the time just didn't, she had a taste of the music business. What I'm thinking, I'm not really know for sure until she calls me and tell me the real reason. I'm always gonna assume. So I think the artist had a taste of the music business and didn't really like the pushes and pulls that were behind it.
I can understand
I feel like because of her background and her being religious and things like that, I don't think that she wanted that lifestyle, and which is fine,
I respect her
but
for that.
But as far as the music, I thought before she left the business that we were making great music. We finally found her sound, and we started making great records. But this is just for producers and artists out there. Like, we're so quick to discover someone and get them to the table and get them signed, and most of the times it don't work. How many producers bring artists to the table, and where did it go? Because we don't take the time to develop anymore, because the record labels are not going to develop artists.
Nope.
Sorry. So unless these artists, these young talented people who don't really know a sound, they can sing, they might have a look, but they don't know, they don't have the creative mindset yet, because they haven't had that experience. If these producers don't help develop them, they're lost.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's so many people out there that's talented, but you got to have the right stuff that fits you. If your music don't fit you, it's either you're not going to make it or you're going to be a one-hit wonder, and that's it.
Know what I used to think? Like, if you didn't sing like Whitney Houston, you wasn't able to get signed. And as years went on,
that was before social media.
Yeah, because my mom asked me, like, do you want to sing professionally? I was like, I can't sing like Whitney Houston. No, I ain't gonna even play myself like that, because that was the standard. And then years later, I'm like, I could have did that. Man, well, I could have been Mary J.T. right quick, Mary J.S. Something. But it's that. The motives in which people get into the music business is also important too, because at first it starts out as fun, something fun to do, something new, and then it changes into work and responsibilities, and you must or you have to, and if you don't, that's not fun.
They as African Americans, they say we have two things. They say we have entertainment and sports. And yes, we're very good at those two things. We have so
much more.
But I mean, yes, we have more, and I get it. But some of us get we get caught up in that stigma, whether it's, where we grew up and, the opportunities that we have. And some of us have more opportunities than others, but we still get caught up in that stigma. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to take away from anyone. If you want to be an athlete, if you want to be an artist, that's your prerogative.
Just have a backup plan.
Have a backup plan. But number 2 is really, really want to be those things.
Yeah.
Really want to be those things.
And for the right reasons.
And for the right, do your due diligence. Like, we don't research anymore. Like, a lot of these new artists, I sit there and I ask them, do you know who this person? They'd be like, who? Like, if you don't know who came before you, like, it's just like black culture. If you don't know certain people in your culture, in history, then there's a problem. Do your due diligence. Social media is not research. Because someone said something on social media, that's not research. Dig into books. Use Google. Like,
books
really
with a spine.
Research.
Books that have a spine. Get off the audio books. Do something traditional and read a book. We have to get back to, I agree with you, researching, because the people in our generation of music, when you ask them who was their inspiration, they can go 20 years back. And that's because their parents are playing the music that inspired them.
Exactly.
That's why.
And that music is not being played in the household.
Yep.
So that's the disconnect.
I love gospel quartet music. Crazy, but that's all I heard in my house was gospel quartet. Period.
Yeah.
Along with some other R&B.
So when I turn on, if my kids are around, I'm bumping some Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? I'm bumping some New Edition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they know it. And then the next thing you know, a week later, they're on YouTube watching New Edition videos or watching Michael Jackson videos
and dancing
or want to sing a Michael Jackson song.
Yes.
You have to pass it down because if it gets lost if it doesn't pass down.
And that's what we can't lose is our history. When we talk about music and motives or just motives in general, motives is a part of history. It's a part of themes. So to know our history, whether it's music history, whether it's art history, whether it's, social studies or whatever the case is, history is very important to know. And for those artists, those new artists that are up and coming and are ready to kind of jump on the music scene, I definitely ask you to do research on the people who came before you so you know the themes that are going on right now.
Listen, we all have motives, but just make sure your motive is going to lead you in the right path for whether it's, for career success, whether it's for entertainment success, whether it's for creative success, whatever it is, but make sure it's leading you in the right path and be honest with it.
All right, signing out.
Move incredible, people. Move
Simone.
Incredible. It's your boy, Just Music.
Simone.